Hey, I'm Brian, and I'm here to talk about my encounter with God in one of the sacraments. And the sacrament I want to talk about is reconciliation, confession. I'm going to take it back to 2009. I was set to receive my Easter sacraments for the first time and be welcomed into the church. And I hadn't received my confession yet, and it was already Holy Week. And I had told my director of religious education that I hadn't fulfilled my first reconciliation in order to receive the Eucharist and my confirmation on Easter Sunday. And here it was, I think it was maybe the Saturday right before Easter week, Holy Week. And she was a little concerned for me because she knew that confessions are there's only like a few times that you can go. They're not normal times because of Holy Week, and some of the parishes aren't operating in normal times and schedules. So I kind of wanted to find a day when I could go, and I had to be at a church on that Wednesday before Easter. And I was thinking, okay, maybe I'll show up and I'll do what I need to do there, and I'm going to find a priest and try to tackle a priest, right? See if he'll hear my first confession, please. I'm a convert and didn't realize the schedule of the church changed on Holy Week. I should have known this. I should have done this, prepared for this way earlier. So I go to this particular parish, and it's maybe 15 miles away from my home in Southern California, and I'm there with my friends, and we're having this meeting, and we were preparing for some of the events we were going to do on Good Friday. And while I'm there, my head's kind of on a swivel. Where is a priest that I can tackle and force to hear my first confession? So we're done with our meeting. We're outside. I see a car pull up. Kind of have my eye on it. Hadn't been a lot of action being a Wednesday, kind of middle of the day during Holy Week at the church. And sure enough, priest gets out and he's walking towards the church. And so I cut him off and ask him, Father, I'm sorry to do this and interrupt you, but I am set to receive my Easter sacraments this coming Easter Vigil, and I have not received my first reconciliation. Would you be so gracious to hear my first confession? And he looks at me and he says, oh, sure, of course. He was an older priest, and he said, tell me a little bit about yourself. What church are you converting from? And I said, well, I'm converting from the Presbyterian church, where I was raised and I was baptized and things like that. And he kind of cuts me off. Well, really? No kidding. I'm a convert from the Presbyterian church also. I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. He's like, well, give me a minute. I'll meet you inside, and then we can go forward with it. So gave him a minute, walked inside. We sat in one of the back pews, and he asked me, he said, how old are you? And at the time I was 27. And he said, 27, no kidding. I converted at about the same age. So already this is kind of like wildly some coincidences, kind of checking behind my shoulder who's following me around here. And he asks me where I'm receiving my sacraments. And I said, my local parish. The name of the local parish was La Purísima. It's in Orange, California. And he said, no kidding. I'm a retired priest now, but I do visit every once in a while at La Purísima because I used to be there when I was an active priest for a certain amount of time. And of course, it's within the diocese, so I'm sure it's out of various parishes, but there are a lot of parishes in the diocese. So again, what are the chances, right, that this would be the priest that I tackle to hear my first confession? So we sit down and he hears, my confession and gives me blessing and everything, and gives me my penance. And so I go and I do my penance and thank him so much for hearing my confession and everything like that. And he, tells me, God bless you and everything. And as I am leaving the church afterwards, just already considering all the things that had already happened, um, just and that just the way that God had already had his hand on that situation, I got a text message, and I got a text from my sister, and she asks me if I want to go to the cemetery that day. I kind of think about it. I'm like, cemetery? I want to go to the cemetery. Well, our mother had died when we were young, maybe 10 years before uh, this day in 2009. She died in 2000, and I kind of think about it. I'm like, why today of all days, And I looked at the calendar, and it was April 8th, and that is her birthday. And I'd totally forgotten about it, being all caught up with not only the meeting that I had with people at the church, but also this need to hear my first confession and get that settled. So I knew that this was definitely God's way of showing me that he was with me in my conversion from the Presbyterian church to the Catholic church, because I didn't want to deny the faith of my parents, and specifically my mom, who was Presbyterian. My dad is Lutheran. So I knew that her hand was on this, that she was kind of saying, this is the right way to go. I knew that already, but it just was a further confirmation that what I was doing wasn't hurting her. In fact, she was blessed by it. Now, being in the presence of God, and it even kind of confirmed in me that I think she really was right there, maybe praying for me through this situation, not only from my past until now, but also in meeting God, but also in converting and becoming a part of the Catholic Church. So I think the effects that the Catechism talks about too is in Article 1468, it says the whole power of the sacrament of penance consists in restoring us to God's grace and joining us with him in an intimate friendship. And I think truly the friendship that I could see that God had, not only with me, obviously, in this situation, but also with my mom, that the friendship, I don't want to say extends beyond God, but in a way that there are others within that friendship that I have some familiarity with, that I am united to. And so just such an incredible experience. And it goes down further in this article 1468 in the Catechism. It says, reconciliation is usually followed by peace and serenity of conscience with strong spiritual consolation. And I think truly the peace that I got from that knowing that, that this was a special day for many reasons, because of my first confession, and also because of my mom's birthday, and just kind of the way all of that came together. And the strong spiritual consolation as well in doing something that was a little bit foreign to me, in confessing my sins for the first time to a priest, and having him absolve me of my sins right then and there, was just so special for me to think about and consider. And it caused me to have to share this story here and now, but also previously, other times, I can't help but share the fact that by saying yes to God in that call to the Catholic faith, that it was confirmed in some of the issues or the fears that I had with how my family would feel about it, or even, doing something that is a little bit foreign or different for me, and how God was with me through that. And he made it something that was, even in the friendship that the priest had, or the commonality that I had with the priest, in being from similar area and a similar age, and both of us being converts, similar time. I'm sorry, converting at a similar time and a similar age from the same church, the Presbyterian Church. I think was just comforting for me and made it more accessible for me to really enter into the sacrament. Uh, The Catechism also says in Article 1469, this is the in brief portion at the end of that portion on the sacrament of confession. It says that there is a increase of spiritual strength for the Christian battle. And I think truly, anytime I feel like God isn't with me, or if I become concerned that maybe my mother is gone, I won't see her again, that I can remember the moments when I was able to connect from earth to heaven and see her in a way again, see her hand move on this situation, or her uh, presence in a way, just knowing that she is still there, she's still alive, more alive, and that God, of course, was right there with her and right there with me in that certain situation. Um, so I just know that that was probably one of the most powerful experiences that I've had in a sacrament, and that I can't help but share it. I've shared it many times, and I couldn't help but share it again in this particular assignment. So thanks for listening.